Welcome to Pammie Plus Parks. I'm Pammie, your plus-size fairy godmother, bringing you all the magic that Disney and Florida has to offer plus-size people. And if you're watching us tonight it's Thursday, November 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching then, you're watching us live. If you're watching any other day or time, it is pre-recorded, but it's still fresh. And if you've never watched or joined in on a Pammie Plus Parks live chat before, I'll explain very quickly what you can expect. The program's about an hour long, and I do it in 3 parts. In the first part, I kind of give you an overview of what's going on with the Pammie Plus Parks Facebook group and the YouTube channel, and maybe even some life updates and just some general Disney news really quick. And then we move on to the main section of the program, which is all about our topic today, which is Disney etiquette. And then after that, we move into a open floor chat forum where we talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So I actually see a bunch of people are already starting to join us. I think that's fantastic. I'm going to see if I can connect here myself to the live chat on my computer and see if I can actually watch your comments on a big screen. Because, you know, I don't have the best eyesight in the world, so the bigger the screen I can get, the better. I'm pulling that up right now. Okay, thanks guys for being patient with me. Let's say hello to some of the folks who've joined us already. I see a bunch of people are already jumping in. Noelle's here, as is Alicia, Megan, my schnook. You guys, hi. I'm so happy to have you guys all here with me tonight. So let me just jump right in and start talking about a little bit about some of the updates with the Facebook group and with the YouTube channel. So we do have both. We have a wonderful community, a Facebook group called Pammie Plus Parks, as well as this YouTube channel called Pammie Plus Parks, and we cater to plus size visitors to Walt Disney World or any Disney park anywhere, or any theme park or any sort of travel. And also we do attractions throughout the state of Florida as well, because I live in Florida. So what we've got going on with the Facebook channel is things are going along nice and smooth. We've had lots of wonderful posts there that where people are constantly sharing all of their personal experiences in the parks, and it's a great place where people can come to ask questions that are plus size related for travel or for the Disney parks or any theme park, any sort of plus size travel. We also handle a lot of stuff with mobility issues or mobility concerns. So if you have any of those types of concerns, join the group. If you haven't joined the group already, check down in the description down below. There's a link to the Pammie Plus Parks Facebook group. I do want to mention that somebody very sweetly mentioned recently about possibly doing a gift exchange or a Christmas card exchange in the Pammie Plus Parks Facebook group. And I'm not going to be doing this, and there's a couple of reasons why, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's not because I'm a big old Grinch. It's because sort of putting that together and maintaining it, it can be a very time-consuming task, and I don't really have that level of time. And even if I were to pass that on to somebody else to take care of, there are some legal issues that have to be taken into consideration. A lot of times when you do a gift exchange, it's considered a type of a pyramid scheme, a sweepstakes, a lottery, or a contest. It falls under some of those categories with different agencies, with different government agencies. And it would fall under the regulation of the U.S. Treasury Department, which is IRS, and the Postal Service. So there's a lot of legalities concerned with something that you would think would be very simple as a Christmas card exchange or a present exchange. A lot of legalities are involved with it, and I, because my name is on the group, could be held financially and legally responsible for that, and it's not something I'm financially prepared to do. Also, I've seen other people put the gift exchanges and card exchanges on their own Facebook groups, and I've noticed that not everybody's able to meet the requirements. Not, you know, stuff happens in people's lives and they can't always afford to send gifts or afford to send cards, and stuff happens. And when that happens, somebody's left out in the cold without a present or a card, and then that puts the person who's running it in the position of having to fulfill those needs and having to buy several gifts and several cards. It can get kind of, you know, not just legally, but financially, there's a lot of obligations involved in it. And I think I'm going to try to work on finding another way for us to sort of share our holiday spirit. And I know there's a lot of people from many different faiths who celebrate different holidays at this time, and it would be really great if we could find a way to kind of come together and share our holiday spirit in whatever way we celebrate. So I'll try to work on that, and if you guys have some suggestions on what we can do with the Facebook group, please make sure you leave that in the comments here or visit us at actually, go ahead and send it to me in an email. My email address is down below too, pammieplusparks@gmail.com, and we'll work it out and we'll see if we can put something up that'll help us share holiday cheer. I also wanted to share with you for the YouTube group, something really neat happened recently, and I don't know if it's a development for every single channel, but my channel recently received the community tab. And if you guys have been participating in the poll that I did a poll for tonight's chat to pick the actual specific subjects within etiquette that we would talk about tonight. And I did a poll here on YouTube, and I did one on the Facebook channel. And the reason why I was able to do a poll on Facebook is because I was given the community tab. From what I understood, the community tab was only given to people, to channels that have 10,000 subscribers or more, and there are less than 4,000 subscribers to this channel, so that was a bit of a surprise to me. I'm not really sure how I ended up getting that for the channel, but I'm super glad I did because it means I can communicate a little more closely with you guys, and I'm excited about that. So you'll see more polls in the future to talk about different types of videos that we'll put up, and more polls for the live chats, and you'll see more messages and pictures for me. It's almost like Instagram inside of YouTube, so it'll be kind of a fun thing to share with you guys. I also wanted to tell you something else. Oh yes, about the most recent videos. You guys seem to really, really, really love the video that I most recently posted for World of Disney. I have 3 more shopping videos to share with you. They're all Disney Springs videos. And if you guys voted on that, you guys voted that you wanted the World of Disney video first. And you may think that you got the best video out of the 4. You're going to be shocked. I was shocked at some of the things that I saw, that I found, that I experienced in the stores, the different stores at Disney Springs that I visited. And I cannot wait to share that with you. I felt I was really surprised, and I hope that you'll be really surprised by some of the videos that I have coming out. I believe the next one that I'll put out for you will be the Cherry Tree Lane dress shop at the Marketplace Co-op at Disney Springs. So I might let you guys vote on that. I don't know. I kind of want to like build the suspense up to the big reveal for what I think is the best video out of all of them, but we'll see. I see tons more people have joined and are leaving comments, so before we move on to the main section of our discussion tonight, let me just take a quick second to say hello to a few more people. Let's see. Kathleen is here, as is Kristen, Elizabeth, Cindy, Karen, Sheila, Painting the Roses Red, Frankie Miller. She says, "Hi, Pammie. Love the title you picked for this tonight. Glad to see you. Cute hair. Thank you." Oh my gosh, you guys don't even know. I have the craziest hair today. I could not get it to do anything. We've had such weird weather in Florida. It's both humid and cold, and my hair just looked crazy. I had to pull it off my face. This isn't even a real bun. I don't even want to tell you what I have going on behind the scenes in the back of my head, but thank you for the compliment. It's amazing what you can do with a rubber band and a hair clip. Let's see. Hello from Becky and Kelly. What else do we have? Oh, Megan says she's in Massachusetts. Snow. Oh, snow coming your way. Oh my gosh. I bet it'll be beautiful. Oh, Chantel says she loves the shopping videos. Audrey says, "Hi, Pammie. Hope you're well. As usual, so tired. 1:10 a.m. So good night to you, Audrey, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. I hope you enjoy watching this tomorrow." So there is snow. GB says there is snow in Massachusetts. You guys know I was born in Massachusetts, right? I was born in Boston. Let's see. Are we Flurry? Laura says, "Hiya, I'm a newbie all the way from Scotland." Well, hello. We're so happy to have you here. And you're up in the middle of the night, young lady. Let's see. Karen says she can't wait to see the videos for shopping. Christina says, "Hi, Pammie. My mom and I watch you together every Thursday. My mom says you look beautiful in purple, and she loves your glasses and eye makeup." You guys are the best. I love the compliments. It is amazing. If you knew, because like I've had a really long, hard day at work. I did not even wear makeup at work today. I came home and I'm so glad that the lens on this camera is like so, the lens on my camera on my phone is so like yucky. I think it's like 12 megapixels, if that, so it doesn't show all my flaws, and I love that. I don't know if I ever switch to a better camera, because then you guys will know how I put my makeup on with a blowtorch and a spatula. Twyla says, hi from Kansas, Disney World bound in 8 days. Amazing! You're going to have fantastic weather while you're here. It'll be beautiful. Liz says, hello. It's snowing in Indiana, Kristen says. That is crazy. Alicia says she doesn't get snow. It's a miracle for snow to come our way. Yeah, we don't get snow in Florida hardly ever. We've only had it a couple of times in all the years I've lived here, and I'm fine with that. Cody says, we love you, Pammie. How sweet. I love you guys too. All right, so now we're going to jump into the big topic, which is Disney etiquette. And this subject is so broad and has so many moving pieces to it. Somebody says here, hi Pammie, my wife and I are larger visitors to the Disney parks and live in Tampa. Thanks to your videos, we bought annual passes and love riding the rides that you reviewed, and your tips are awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you've been enjoying it. That's what I want to hear. I love hearing those stories. Actually, wait, before I jump into this, I have to say one more thing. When I was doing the videos at Disney Springs, and then later in the day, I went to Hollywood Studios to meet up with some friends that you guys have to check out. I will put their link to their channel down below in the description after this video is over. But I went to go see Jeremy and Cara from the Magic Geekdom, and they are adorable, sweet, amazing people. I love them. I've been fans of their channel for a long time, and I'm very proud of myself that I didn't completely geek out. Well, I geeked out a little bit, but not too bad. But I got to spend some time with them at Hollywood Studios, and while I was there with them, and earlier in the day when I was at Disney Springs, I just got so many people pulling me aside and saying that they love the videos. I had more people approach me on that day than I have had approach me in the entire time I've been making the videos. And I left Disney feeling like I was walking on a cloud of air. It is so amazing to me to hear from you guys, and if you see me in the park, to pull me aside and say hello and let me know that the videos are helping you and having an impact on your life. That's why I do this. I am not making $1 million on this. The money that it comes in from the ads is just enough money to pay for one trip to Disney and back and my breakfast, lunch, and dinner on that trip. It's enough. It's a half a tank of gas and lunch and breakfast money and dinner money, you know, fast food meals. That's what I make off the channel. So all the other money that you guys contribute through PayPal and through the super chats that you do on this channel, all of that helps pay for the annual passes. I now have $100 saved towards the Universal annual passes thanks to you guys and your contributions. So yeah, I mean, so this isn't like I'm not making $1 million off of this. What keeps me going is knowing that I'm helping people and that it's making a difference in people's lives, that they're getting out and they're moving around and they're doing things and they're trying stuff and they're gaining just courage to try new things and feeling more confident. That's what it's all about. So that's why I do the videos. I just wanted to share that with you. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place. I'm so tired. It's been a long week, but I have so much I want to share with you, but we'll get right back to it. Main subject, Disney etiquette. It is a broad topic, and that's why I asked you guys to vote on this for me and kind of narrow it down to like 2 or 3 things. So between the YouTube poll and the pammieplusparks on Facebook poll together, you guys voted on 3 main topics, and the one that was #1 on both formats was cast member appreciation. We're going to follow that up by the #2 request, which was table saving, like saving a table at a quick service restaurant. And then #3, and possibly the most controversial of the topics, #3, saving a place in line, saving a place in a queue, or sometimes people call it line jumping or cutting lines. That was your #3. So we're going to handle all of these. I'm going to share with you the pammieplusparks plus size fairy godmother opinion on my idea of what etiquette is. And I'm going to try to do so graciously, without judgment. I'm just going to share with you what I have learned from visiting the Disney park starting in December of 1971 till now. I visited when I was an infant all the way up to now at 48 years old, and I've had a lot of experiences at every phase and juncture of my life. And I've developed a lot of insights. I've seen a lot of things that work well for people, and I've seen things that don't work well for people, and I've tried some things myself. And I'm going to try to share that with you, and I'm hoping that you guys will share with me your tips and tricks and your etiquette that you use at Disney. And let's share with each other graciously, and let's allow people to have their opinions and their thoughts and their ideas, and listen and really, not react, but listen, because somebody may have something to share with you that could completely change your perspective on how things run at Disney or how you would conduct yourself at Disney. So I'm going to jump in first with the number one request, which was cast member appreciation and how that relates to his etiquette. Cast members at Disney, especially during this really busy time of year, put up with a lot from people. They often are stretched thin and are working up to 16-hour shifts. If you're there on New Year's Eve, they are too, but they're not with their family. If you're there on Christmas Eve with your family, they're there with you, but they're not with their family. They're working to make sure that you have a wonderful time with your family. Always remember that. So even if a cast member doesn't bend over backwards to do something special for you, just look them in the eye and say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday may be happening, Happy New Year, and really say it like you mean it. And the thing I like to do, if I happen to be there on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve or like right around the holiday, I will say to them, just very simply, as I walk by a cast member, I'll just pause and go, hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for working. Thank you for being here. I remember doing that right before Hurricane Irma hit, because I went to visit a couple of days before the hurricane came, and I thanked people for being there, the cast members. And like a few people almost broke down in tears because they were away from their families, away from their homes, and they were there working at Disney while their own homes were in peril to make sure people had a great vacation. So this means a lot to them, just to simply say thank you, to make eye contact, to call people by their names, and to treat them graciously is a big, big deal. But if you want to go that extra step because somebody did something special for you, there's a number of ways to make sure that the cast member who assisted you gets optimum results. Not just a thank you, but something extra. I'm going to share with you my favorite way to thank a cast member, and that's through Twitter or other social media. Sometimes just Instagram, that works really well too. I like to have my picture taken with the cast member who helped me, and then I like to post it on Twitter or Instagram and use the hashtag cast compliment. And I'm going to put all this down in the description after this video so that you guys can have this as well. If you're doing it on Twitter, you address the Twitter to @WDW Today, or if you're at Disneyland, it would be @Disneyland, and then you also include the hashtag cast compliment. Walt Disney World monitors that hashtag, so they are going to know that you're complimenting one of their cast members, and they will reach out and make sure that that cast member receives the compliment. Generally what they do is they print out the compliment that you typed up into a certificate, they present it to the cast member, and they take a picture of the cast member with it, and then they post it on Instagram. So if you go to Instagram and you look up hashtag cast compliment, you'll see tons of pictures of cast members holding a certificate showing their cast compliment. That way you know that they received the compliment. When you make a cast compliment this way, it goes into the employee's permanent file, and it actually helps them with, when they want to vacation at a certain time or a certain shift, or they want to move to a different position, or they're applying for another job. If they have tons of cast compliments, that really goes a long way to helping them further their career. So keep that in mind. Saying thank you is one thing, but doing a little extra, you can actually change someone's life with that. Another way to pay a cast compliment and to ensure that it goes into the employee's file is to call or send an email. There is a phone number for Disney World Guest Communications, and that phone number is 407-824-4646. 4321. I will put that information down in the description after this live chat is over. And there's also an address for Disney World. It's wdw at wdw.guestcommunications at disneyworld.com. And if you're trying to reach Disneyland, the phone number for them for cast member compliments is 714-781-4636. Anytime that you call or email or send a letter with a cast compliment, all of that goes into an employee's record. There's also like an old school way of doing a cast compliment, and it's something called Great Service Fanatic Card. You can ask the cast member if they have a Great Service Fanatic card, and if they don't, they can get one for you. It's basically a little form that you can fill out saying that the person did great service. You can even ask to speak to their shift supervisor or the section manager, and that person can come over and give you the document. You can fill it out, hand it back to them, and they'll make sure that that cast member gets that compliment in their permanent employee record. One other way that takes a little bit longer to do, but it's definitely worth it if you happen to forget to do all that in the heat of the moment. Sometimes that's happened to me a few times and you're like, you know, I really should have said something to them. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, before you leave the park, you can go to guest relations and file a compliment in writing. And you can also do this at your resort if you're staying at a Disney resort, and go down to the concierge desk and they'll help you out in getting that taken care of. Just to make sure that your cast member gets the compliment that they deserve and gets the credit that they deserve, make sure you get the name of the cast member. Make sure you remember the date that it occurred, the approximate time of day, and the location that that cast member was in when they did the great service for you. All of that information is going to help them track down the exact person. That's why I like taking a picture with the cast member. It can be a little weird to say to the cast member, can I take a picture of you, and just take a picture of them? I've heard them say that they feel weird when people do that, but get in the picture with them, or have somebody in your party get in the picture with them, and make sure you get a nice clear shot of their badge so you don't forget their name, so that you can give them a compliment later. And if you let them know that's why you're doing it, I'm sure they will have no problem with that. Another way to thank your cast members is a very, very sweet way, and I see a lot of people do it, and I think it's absolutely darling. And that is to make your own thank you cards that you hand out to cast members. In fact, this is something I would really like to do. You can go to Vistaprint, and for like less than $10, I think you can get little business cards made up. You can, you know, have something written on it like you're the best cast member ever or whatever on the front side. Carry a pen with you, jot down a little personalized note on the back, and then hand it to the cast member. The only thing that's not so great about doing those is that they don't get credit for that in their employee file. They love receiving the compliment. It's wonderful and lovely for them to have that compliment card to keep. I know they love them, and many of them collect them. But it doesn't go on their permanent record. So if you do that, make sure you take other steps to also make sure that they get recognized officially by Disney World or Disneyland, wherever they're working. So those are a few of the things that you can do to make sure that your cast member receives credit for a job well done. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the feedback we've gotten from you guys. You've been posting like crazy. Let's see if you guys have shared some of your own personal tips. Let's see. Cindy says, I'll be geeking out if I meet you in person. I'll geek out if I meet you, Cindy. I'm pretty nerdy in person. Let's see. Are We Flurry says, I go to the Paris park at least once a year, and I feel the difference of America and Europe to be interesting. I would love to hear more about that. Let's see. Alicia says, as a former cast member, please don't shout or get angry at cast members when something goes wrong. Don't threaten them. Just hear them and understand the situation and leave it at that. And, you know, I agree. I think a lot of people get very angry when something doesn't go their way, or when when a ride is really crowded, or a line is really long, or they're being instructed to do something a certain way by a cast member. Please don't take that out on the cast member. The cast member's doing their job. They're trying to make sure things move along smoothly, and that everyone remains safe. So follow instructions from your cast member and treat them kindly and understand they are doing the best job that they can. And any policies that the company makes are not their policies. They're just following the rules of the company. Let's see. Megan says, that's awesome. Some cast members go above and beyond and they should be recognized. That is true. Are we? Flurry says, pixie dust is something that's becoming bigger and bigger in Paris. It could be candy or tea bags, biscuits, stickers, just anything, just a token to say thanks for cast members that go out of their way. Yes, that is something that you can do. You can bring small gifts to give to the cast members. It is better if the gifts are handmade. And they really need to be under $5. So if you try to give them a gift card, if you try to give them cash tips, or anything that's more than $5, or you go buy them something in one of the stores and try to give it to them, that it really doesn't go over very well. They can't keep them. Sometimes they can't keep them, but occasionally their supervisors in the area may allow them to keep it. But if you offer them a small token, I believe, and I've heard this, and I don't know if it's true, they have to tell you no 3 times. Oh no, I'm sorry, I couldn't accept it. Oh no, thank you very much. Oh, that's very gracious, but no, I can't. And then the 4th time you ask them, they can say yes. So just keep insisting, and they'll take the little gift from you. But I think that's lovely to give them a small gift. But personally, I know, having worked in guest relations type positions before in the past, it really goes much further to make sure that their superiors and the company at large knows that they're doing a good job, because it can affect many other aspects of their career. I think it's important that if you are going to give them a little gift, you want to take that extra step to make sure their company acknowledges them as well. Let's see. Cody says, we love the suggestion of handing out thank you cards. We're going to have to look into doing this. Thanks for the suggestion. That is awesome. I'm sure that you'll have lots of cast members. I mean, they collect them. They have books of them. It's amazing. Hairdresser says, I called down to the reception desk to report how much we loved our bus driver last August. It sounded like my compliment landed where it needed to. That's awesome. That's really, really good. Frankie says, always keep a little pad and pencil so I can jot down names. I never thought about taking a picture and Instagram. Great to know that. Yeah, it's a real easy way to keep track of it too. WML95 says, the vast majority of cast members really are underappreciated, and I have to agree with you on that. That is absolutely true. Frankie Miller says, tons of ideas on Etsy. Thank you cards. It's absolutely true. If you do Google cast member compliment or cast member thank you card, you'll get tons of ideas that will come up. There's even like little printable things that you can print out at home and cut out of slips of paper and hand out little slips of paper. There's all kinds of great little ideas of special things that you can do to thank you our cast members as you go along throughout the day. Torasant says, I'm interested to know what cast member prefers when it comes to being recognized. I'm afraid of burdening a working CM with a card or gift if they are in the middle of their shift. I think if you keep it very, very small, if the token is really, really tiny, really small, something they can slip into their pocket. If the note is like business card size, they can slip it into their pocket. I think that they'd be happy to accept that. Not like a full-on Hallmark thank you card, but like a little business card with the thank printed on it. And Christina says, thank you cards are a great idea in this digital age. Who doesn't love a personally handwritten note? Great way to show appreciation. Maybe post a pic on Twitter of the card with the hashtag. Yeah, I think all those are fantastic ideas. I'm going to say, I love the idea of a handwritten thank you card. And I know that cast members, it can really make their day. But I also want to just make sure that they get credit for a job well done, because I know that can really impact the shifts that they work, the days they get off. It can affect their promotions. It means a lot. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic, topic number 2 for etiquette, and it's table saving. And this one is one of my favorite ones to talk to people about and to share experiences about. Before I hop into this, I'm going to share a personal experience I had with a table. It wasn't really table saving, but it's a table experience. Oh, a couple of years ago, Mark and I were at Magic Kingdom on a very busy summer day, And normally we eat lunch at 11 a.m. and we go upstairs and there's nobody in there and we just have a nice relaxing lunch. But for some reason we were a little bit behind. It was 11:30 before we got our food. We sat down like almost noon, and we started to eat our meal, and I felt something on this side of my body, like right here. Hot, weird, close, awkward, strange. And I was afraid to look. I sort of like looked like this, and I realized there was a man on his cell phone who was leaning into me. So his groin was right here, like right against my back of my shoulder and my neck. His groin was resting on me. And he was sort of leaning over me a bit. So like right about here, he was holding his cell phone, like texting somebody or playing on his phone. While I have the sandwich like this, I'm about to take a bite of it. This guy is literally on me. I put my sandwich down and I look across the table at Mark. And he's sitting there doing the same thing, staring at me with this like blank, shocked look on his face, because apparently the man's wife was standing next to Mark doing the exact same thing to Mark, and her chest was basically on top of Mark's head while he's trying to eat his lunch. And we were completely shocked. And, Mark said, could you get your bleep, bleep, bleep off my wife to the guy, and started to laugh. And the guy was like, what do you mean? What? And I said, your body is pressed against me. It's very awkward. I can't eat my food if you're standing up against me. And he's like, oh, well, there's no tables here. And we said, we get that, and we're going to eat our food quickly and leave, but we do have two extra chairs at this table. If you guys want to go get your lunch and come and sit at the table with us and eat lunch, that would be awesome. We're fine with that. Just don't lean your bodies against us while we're trying to eat. So they started to laugh, and we laughed, and it was very awkward, and the guy was like, I'm really sorry. Where I come from, the country that they came from, that was perfectly acceptable to do. There was nothing weird about it. That's how people did things when restaurants were crowded. You just went and stood at the table that you wanted to go to and wait till the people would finish eating, and then you'd immediately sit down. So every country has its own customs. There can be misunderstandings. I mean, you can look at someone and think they're from the country you're from, but they may not be, There's different reasons for why people do different things. So try not to get all worked up and worried when you see something. Like if you see someone saving a table, you don't know. That person might have mobility issues. They might have cognitive issues. They may have other types of concerns that make it to where they need to sit down, they need to rest, they need to get out of the crowd. And if it means they have to sit at that table for 10 or 15 minutes while the rest of their family goes and does other things, maybe that's the case. So try not to get worked up or worried or let it bother you. Just go about your business and do what you have to do to secure yourself a table, and don't worry about other people. That's their thing. But there are some things you can do with saving a table that make it to where you can grab a table and save it for literally just a minute or two, and not like sit there and camp out if you don't need to, because you don't really need to do that. I've seen people sit at a table that it appeared they really did not need to. And if you're there for 20, 30, 40 minutes, somebody else could have sat there, had an entire meal left, and made that table available to you. So try to be reasonable with how you save a table or the circumstances under which you do them. So I'm going to share some of my own opinions here. I kind of typed everything up to make sure that I included everything I wanted to say and didn't miss everything. I do think it is poor form for one person to sit at a table while someone else goes and stands in line for 20, 30, 40 minutes for food. Really, your best bet is most of the quick services in Disney have mobile ordering. So that means you can order your food to be ready at 1 o'clock, and then you can get to the restaurant at 1:50. One of you goes to stand in line to get the food. The other person goes and gets the condiments and gets the napkins and gets the silverware and that sort of thing. Then you start scouting out for a table, and you can see when a table is available, and just wait patiently and stand off to the side. Look for a family or a group of people that are about to finish their meal, and stand nearby. And if it looks like there's a lull in the conversation and everyone's finished eating, this is something I've done. I just go up to the table and I say, hey, I'm sorry to disturb you. It looks like you're wrapping up your meal. Or if you guys are done, I'd be happy to clear the table for you and clean it off while you rest. And then when you leave, I'll be right over here. You can signal me and I'll come and take the table when you're done. So that allows them to sit and relax and enjoy the rest of their meal. Somebody else cleans the table off for them while they relax. And then I just stand off to the side, and when they're ready to go, they just signal me and I come over. And so by the time that happens, Mark has gone through the mobile ordering line, he's got our food, and absolutely zero time was wasted saving a table. I have everything set up. I've got all our condiments, all our silverware, all our napkins. And I'm telling you, this works great. No matter how busy it is, this works for us. And it means I don't ever sit there for ages hanging onto a table. There's been a few times where it took him a little bit longer than he expected to get the food, and I maybe sat there 5 minutes, but for the most part, literally by the time the other folks are clearing out and I'm putting our stuff down, he's walking up with the food. And this is a fantastic time saver. It allows us, make sure somebody gets a table without hanging onto a table that you don't need. So I don't go up to an empty table when it's super busy and grab it and sit at it. I let somebody else take that table and I go find someone who's about to finish up and I go grab their table. I feel like that's just, I don't know, more, what's the word I want to say? Just more thoughtful, more considerate than sitting at a table for a long time. The other thing that Mark and I do, ever since we had that couple who were like leaning against us while we were trying to eat when it was really busy, we started this thing where if it's just the two of us and there's a table with 2 more chairs or even 1 more chair, and we see people wandering around, or if it looks like it's a couple and they're wandering around looking for a table, we flag them down and invite them to join us. We've only ever had 1 couple say yes. I don't know why. Maybe we look crazy. Or maybe in our culture today, it seems weird to ask someone to join you for a meal. I think the people who joined us the one time were Europeans, and they were absolutely like, oh, wonderful, that's fantastic. And we had a lovely conversation with them for about 5 minutes, and then we were done and we left the table. But yeah, like if you have extra spots at your table and you have enough room for other people, invite them to come join you. You never know who you're going to meet. You're not going to be with them for the rest of your life. You're not getting married. You're just sitting down with them for 5, 10, 15 minutes at the most and sharing a little bit of your time with them while you eat a meal. And you can, I don't know, you never know who you meet. You never know what kind of conversation you have. And I think it's incredibly considerate and generous and kind. And it's a lovely thing to do. I'd love to hear what you guys do, what your tips or tricks are for finding a table in a quick service, and how do you hang on to one, and what do you feel is an appropriate amount of time to save a table for? One of the things I will say is that if I see someone who clearly needs to be sitting down because they look unwell, or they look tired or frail, or they have a mobility concern, or they may be elderly, I don't really bat an eye at anybody who's sitting at a table holding it. That's none of my business. I go find my own table and don't worry about them. But I tend to notice that. I notice, oh, that person really needs to be seated. And I look around and I see other people getting all bent out of shape. And it's like, clearly this person is unwell and they need to be sitting while the rest of their party goes and gets food. Give the person a break. So let's see what you guys have to say, though. Let's see. Shelley says, I've always found cast members seeking to go above and beyond for everyone, especially if you are nice to them. That is very true. Being nice goes a long way. Marianne says, I usually make sure to go to guest relations and name an outstanding cast member. That is also a fantastic way to do it. Checking in with guest relations as you're leaving the park. That's another great way. Let's see. Are We Flurry says, oh, this is a sore topic. French, German, English, Scottish, etc., all have very different opinions. I've seen several confrontations between different countries for saving tables. Yes, it can be very controversial. And we just have to recognize that people who are at Disney are from all over the world, and we just have to be patient with one another because everybody's different. Megan says it's appropriate to rest your junk on someone's shoulder to call dibs on a table. You know, in that country, or where that, it may not even been in the entire country. It may have just been where that man was from, where that couple was from. And he may not have even realized he was standing quite that close, or that part of his body was literally resting on me. You know, that's why it was so funny. I think he was flabbergasted because I guess he was so concentrating so much on his phone that I don't think he even realized how close he was standing to me. But that's just the way it goes. Christina says, Pammie, that community seating situation is how they seat you at Beer Garden and Epcot. Yeah, community seating, I'm all about it. That's why Europeans, like, a lot of times if you invite them to sit with you, they're like, sure, great. Because it's kind of a European thing. It's not a big deal. So that's one thing we can do, is like to share our tables is awesome. Are We Flurry says, yes, sharing tables, be it us asking them or asking us to sit down. Yeah, and you know, it's okay if you are absolutely completely flattened, and I've done this before, where I have just been completely worn out and I have to have something to drink and I have got to sit down and there is no place to sit. I have just walked up to complete strangers and said, I am so sorry, but I have got to sit. Would you mind terribly if I joined your table, or if I pulled the chair over here and sat down near you just to be in the shade? I have never once had anyone say no. So, you know, I think it's cool to go up and ask people if you're polite about it. Let's see. Lawrence says, one time I snagged a table for my wife and I, and it clearly sat more. So we were doing our best impression of air traffic controllers to guide other guests to our table. That's so awesome, Lawrence. You're amazing. Yeah, but a lot of people won't take you up on it. Americans won't take you up on it at all. They just think it's weird that you invited them to join your table. Karen says, we travel as a group of 11. We never can find enough tables for everyone. We tend to picnic on grassy areas as much as possible. That's a fantastic idea. I never thought of that. I bet, yeah, you can find some shade under a tree in a grassy area and everybody sits together like a picnic. That's actually pretty awesome. I like that idea. Megan says, we've asked to sit with strangers before when there are no tables left, and they usually uncomfortably say okay and either leave as quick as possible or clam up and stop speaking even to each other. And I'm guessing they're Americans too. No offense to my fellow Americans, but we are a weird set of people. We'll give you the shirt off our backs. We'll give you every penny in our pocket. We'll bend over backwards for you, but God forbid you sit at our table and we're eating a meal. We'll clam up, we'll act weird, we'll jump up and run away. You know, it's so strange. We're very, very funny. We really value our personal space, and we're very strange that way, I think. I wish we were a little more open that way. Somebody said, I'm going to Disneyland. Is it okay to propose to princesses? I think you can, but I think it would be very awkward, and I don't know that they would actually say yes. Are We Flurry says, you be okay in Paris doing that, Megan. I guess, like, sitting with other people. Yeah, European folks tend to be a little more open to the concept of group seating or sharing tables and stuff like that. All right, let's move on to the third and final and most controversial topic of this live chat. And that's saving a place in line, like saving a place in a queue or allowing people to line jump. All right, I have a lot of opinions about this, and I'm going to be as gracious as I possibly can about it, and I hope that you guys will be to me as well, and to each other as well, as you share your opinions on this. I want to first of all share that after extensive research, and I asked a lot of questions within the parks and of guest relations, and also checked out the Walt Disney World guest relations website, there are no official Disney guidelines against holding a place in line for someone who leaves for the restroom. There's no rules or official guidelines preventing you from holding a place for groups or members of your party to join you in a line, even if it's just before boarding the ride. There's no rules against it. And basically what I learned in an unofficial capacity, no one would officially tell me this, but I heard off the record, the reason why rules like that don't exist is because if they had a rule like that, cast members would be in a position to enforce it. And that could put the cast member in some danger, because people get very, very heated about line cutting and line jumping and saving a spot in a queue. And if you put a cast member out there to face a group of people who are arguing about it, it could put them in a very dangerous situation. So that's why there's no rule against it. However, even though a cast member can't stop it from happening, you can flag down a cast member, and if someone is being disruptive in any way, you can report it to a cast member and ask them to bring security. I urge you that if you see a heated situation of any kind, whether it's between you and another person or other people, other guests, flag down a cast member and request security and stay out of it. Back away. Do not exchange words. Do not get heated. Do not get involved. Back away. Let security handle it, because I personally have seen situations where both the person who was in the wrong and the person who was in the right got carted off and escorted off the property. So, you know, don't put yourself in that situation of possibly losing a day at Disney, or maybe having your ticket revoked for the day or your annual pass permanently revoked. Don't get involved in altercations, even if someone's done something really awful. Contact a cast member, let that cast member call security, and let Disney security handle it. You please also know and understand that all of the queue lines have tons of cameras everywhere. Everywhere. I personally have also witnessed situations where there were undercover cast members inside the lines. Almost every single line that you're in every queue for every ride has undercover cast members in it. So there's always people there looking out for you to help you. Someone can get there very quickly if need be. So I just want to put that out there. That line jumping, you know, saving a spot in a queue, it can be a really heated thing, but don't let yourself get heated by it or get involved in it. Call someone to help you if you find that it's really disruptive. Before I get into this topic in depth, I want to share a personal experience of something that I saw that could have been a really negative situation, but turned out really, really amazing. I was in line for Peter Pan, which is notoriously long. It was like a 75-minute wait on this particular day. And there was these two young women ahead of me in line, and they were talking to family members and explaining that they were already halfway through the line inside. They'd been in line for about 35 minutes or so. And I thought for sure they were going to tell their family to just push on through the line and come up and join them. But what these two young women did instead is they said, well, we see there's like a little bend up here where there's a little spot for us to stand. We're just going to stand aside, and we'll stand here inside the building and we'll wait for you. And then I heard, you know, I could tell they were having more of a conversation, and the young girl said, I'm not going to leave the line because then I'd have to push past all these people, and that's not fair. We'll just stay where we are in the line, and we'll meet up with you as you come through the line. And when she got off the phone, I said, you know what? I want to thank you very much for what you've done. I'm sorry to have eavesdropped, but the fact that you knew not to cut out of the line or to allow people to cut in the line to meet you, that is incredibly considerate. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. And there just happened to be this spot in the queue where there was enough room where they could stand way off to the side, and if somebody were in a wheelchair or an ECV, they'd still be able to get past them. So I thought that was really amazing. They made sure there was enough room for people to get by them, and they were just very, very, very considerate. So there's ways that you can do things to get your party together and to meet up if you want to ride a ride together, if you use a little creative thinking. All right, here's where I share my personal pammieplusparks fairy godmother advice with you. As I mentioned, I have been to the parks 500 times since more than 500 times since 1971. I've visited the parks as an infant all the way to the age I am now, the wizened old age of 48. So I've seen it all. And I will tell you that there are emergency situations where you have to exit a line. You have a kid who's having a meltdown, somebody is physically ill, somebody has to go to the bathroom, there's a phone call or some kind of emergency going on, you have to leave the line. For whatever reason, that's completely understandable. Sometimes you have to leave a line, and although it's inconvenient and you're asking people to stand out of the way to let you out of the line, sometimes those people have physical concerns, mobility concerns, they have PTSD, they are on the autism spectrum, or for whatever reason they don't want people to touch them, and it's upsetting to them and it's disruptive and disturbing, but you have to get out of that line. And as long as you're considerate about it and you go about it as quickly as possible, you leave the line. But, you know, and there's plenty of emergencies that cause you to leave a line. But in all the years that I have visited Disney, I have never seen an emergency to get back into a line. There is nothing that is that urgent that will force you to, once you've handled things outside of the line, to go back into the line again. And while I understand you spent thousands and thousands of dollars and hours and time and energy trying to put together a trip so that everybody can get on the ride together and enjoy it as a family, sometimes it's not possible to do that. And it's a sad thing, but not every single thing is going to work out perfectly or flawlessly on your trip. And I'm sorry that that happens, because that's sucky, because you work really hard to make that trip perfect. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So if you have to exit a line for a reason, I urge you to rejoin the line at the end, or go to the exit of the ride and wait for your party, and then maybe try to get on that ride some other time. And maybe you just missed that ride on this particular trip. It's sad, but it happens. When you leave a line, it's very inconvenient for everyone that you pass, and it's even more inconvenient for you to come back through the line. I know that you want your children to experience the magic of Disney, but I think it's also important as a parent to take that opportunity as a teaching moment to share with your children that you don't always get every single thing that you want in life. It's not always possible to have everything be perfect, but you don't have to let it devastate you or upset you or anger you. That it's possible to just brush it off, put your chin up, and know that you're going to have a fantastic day, because there's so many other things to enjoy together as a family. And take that time with your child, if you've had to leave the line with your child, to have a little one-on-one bonding experience and try to make a special moment together, spending time alone. And you know, I get it. It's lousy. You want your whole family together, but please, 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 please know that all the other people that are standing in line with you also spent thousands upon thousands of dollars and hours and time and energy to make a perfect trip too. Please be considerate and take that into consideration. And you know, I also find that this is to be the same case for folks who are saving a place in line for members of their party, you know, so that everybody doesn't have to wait in line. Maybe you have someone in your party who suffers from PTSD, they have an anxiety disorder, perhaps they are on the autism spectrum, or they have any number of physical ailments that, you know, they're not in a wheelchair, they're not in an ECV, they're not using a mobility device, but standing in a line for a long period of time, maybe the close quarters, maybe all the people, make it impossible for them to stand in line for that long. Disney has thought of those guests. There's the DAS, which is the Disability Access Service Program that they have. Your member of your party who has that issue, who has that concern, can go to guest relations with all the other members of your party. They need to have their ticket and or their magic band and their photo ID and show up in person. And they'll take a little quick picture of them and they'll attach the DAS to their ticket or to their magic band. And they'll scan everybody else's tickets and magic bands that are in your party. And then you can take advantage of this program where you still have to wait in line. You still have to wait to go on a ride. Like if there's an hour-long ride to go on Mine Train, you approach the Fast Pass line where there's cast members. You tell them you're taking advantage of the DAS. They'll scan everybody's bands that's with the person who has the Disability Access Service Program on it, uploaded on their band. And if there's an hour-long wait for the ride, they'll tell you to come back in 45 minutes. So you can wait to go on the ride, but just not in the line. You're waiting to go on the ride, but you're not waiting in the line as you wait for the ride. 45 minutes later, you come back, and they'll send you through the Fast Pass line. So that line can be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes long, so you'll still be waiting in a line for like another 15 to 30 minutes. So usually the wait for somebody who's using DAS is equal to or slightly greater than the wait that people have when they go through the regular standby line, but they're just not doing that. The majority of the wait takes place outside of a line. So if that's somebody, if somebody has like Crohn's disease, or they have like digestive issues or illness that prevents them from, you know, they need to be able to drink or eat or sit or rest, they have cancer, you know, anything that doesn't require a wheelchair or an ECV, take advantage of the DAS, use that instead of saving a place in line and having a whole mob of people come through the line. You know, it's difficult when you have an emergency situation and you have a parent and a child who have to leave the line, or a parent and a couple of children who have to leave a line, or one or two people who are feeling unwell that need to leave a line. But when you have a whole group of people coming through the line and barreling through to meet up with their family or their friends inside the line, that's incredibly disrespectful and incredibly discourteous. And I really can't think of any reason why that would be necessary. If you guys have good reasons why, please leave those in the comments, or you know, share them with us so we know. But in all the years I've been to Disney, I've never heard or seen anyone provide a reason why it's okay to cut through a line past people. I don't think it's necessary, and I think there's better ways to, you know, ways within the system to get on a ride. And that's really just what I have to share with you. I don't think that, even though there's no guidelines or official Disney rules against cutting in a queue or holding a place in a queue, I personally feel that it is bad form and it is poor etiquette. All right, now I'm going to wait for you guys to blast me here. Let me go ahead and read your reactions to what I have to say. Oh, thank you. B-Web has given us $10, contributed $10. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. B. Weber says, thanks for all the great information. And thank you for tuning in and for sharing this. Let's take a look. Let's see what people have to say. Oh, this is Kathy is telling us about a time that, this is back to the table service that we were talking about, sharing tables. Kathy says, my husband and I asked a couple who did not speak English to join us. We had a really fun time trying to share our Disney day with crazy sign language. How awesome! See, that can be really fun. Let's see. A lot of people don't like line jumping. I'm hearing this. People not liking it. Let's see. Sheena says, undercover cast members is a thing. Mind blown. I'll share an undercover cast member story with you. One day, Mark and I were at Animal Kingdom, and it was kind of a warm day, and there was this lady with hair that was like down to here that looked like it was definitely like so thick and luxurious it couldn't be real. And she had a big wide brim hat on, and she had on like a long skirt and hiking boots and a long like safari type top over it and a vest on top of that. And she had this big camera with a huge telephoto lens, and she was walking around, and I was like, oh, she's undercover. And Mark was like, she's not undercover, she's just a tacky tourist. I was like, that lady is undercover, let me tell you something. So then eventually we ended up seeing her a couple of times throughout the day, and we were standing next to her, and she was talking to somebody, and I could see she had something feeding into her ear. When I looked at her, I could see it under her wig, and she was doing this with her camera, you know, playing with the lens and looking across this lagoon that we were standing on. And she said, that's right, okay, I see who you're talking about, I'm on the way. So either that person was an undercover cast member or she was really unusual. Christina Chesnoff says, great chat tonight. Thank you so much for the contribution, Christina. I really appreciate that $10. That will, man, that's like almost, that's my breakfast. The next time that I drive up to Disney. That's awesome. Let's take a look at what else we have here. Let's see. Alicia says, this has happened to me. The lady in front of me cut me and budged me out. I was in line getting ice cream, and the lady was rude to me, but I decided to go somewhere else because it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. I mean, if that person is so keen on getting that ice cream or that popcorn or that snack, I mean, Mark and I just usually laugh at them. We're like, holy cow, like, you're not going to die. There's enough for everyone. Like, take it easy. But I think because we're annual pass holders, we just know to just step back and let it go. It's just, it's not worth ruining your whole day for, and certainly not your whole vacation. Are we, Flurry says, oh, there are some, I mean, I get that there are some people who feel like there are certain countries that don't understand lines and things like that. And, I don't necessarily agree about that, because I have family members from the country you've mentioned, and they are not like that at all. But it just depends. But there are culturally some countries where the way cues are handled are very differently. They're handled very different because the country, like, I had a conversation with one couple who jumped in front of us because there were two lines for the safari ride. There's the standby line and then there's the fast pass line. And the cast member was stopping both lines and then asking us how many people were in our party before they let us through. We were in the fast pass line. And as she was doing this couple from China like jetted, like almost knocked her over trying to get through, and she had to grab them and pull them back and make them get back in the standby line. So we went back down the fast pass line and did our thing, and we ended up standing next to this couple from China, and the man apologized to us profusely, and he said, "I'm sorry, we didn't understand. We speak English, but where we come from in China, if there's an open in a line, you get in there and you fill it. You don't wait, because it's rude not to fill in the empty spaces. We didn't mean to offend you. We didn't mean to cut in front of you. We're very, very sorry." He was super apologetic. And I was like, oh no, I totally understand. Okay, so that's how it works in your country. That's how you handle lines. It was awesome that he took the time to explain that to us. I thought he was very kind for doing it. But yeah, every country is different and they handle things differently. So sometimes people don't realize that they're cutting in that particular case where the two lines meet up and then the cast member decides who goes and who doesn't. But there are other cases where people know that they're like cutting through an entire line. And that's not a cultural thing. That's just people not being nice no matter where they're from. Let's see. Megan says, we were in Disney around Christmas time. World of Disney was bananas. A large family sent one person to stand in line while everyone else shopped. Another person switched spots when she was about a third in the line to check out. She called the family. About 8 people showed up with full baskets. Ooh. And while at the register, they continued to send people back for more things. It took, not lying, more than half an hour to ring them through. Wow. And there's nothing the cast members can do about that because there's no rules or regulations against it. That is a shame. That is a shame when people are like that. And then they get people fired up and people get angry and then an incident occurs. I mean, I know people think they're being smart and they're being clever, but really they're not helping anyone. They're holding everybody up, and it takes them just as long. If they each took the time to stand in line as they finished shopping, and everybody gathered outside and waited for them and had like a margarita or something, because there's a little margarita stand out there. Everybody could have sat outside at a table, had a lovely relaxing drink, and waited as the different members of their party came out. It would have been much more relaxing for them. But people don't realize that necessarily. They think they're trying to be clever, but it really isn't. It isn't necessarily faster to do that, and it makes things very, very stressful for everyone. It would be nice if people didn't realize that they didn't have to do that. Let's see. Marianne says, we've done that when my grandson had to go to the bathroom and we had to split up. Yes, that's true, Marianne, and I appreciate that you did that. It's not easy to split your family up like that, and there is that desire to have everybody ride together, especially when you're trying so hard to make that magical experience for your child or your grandchild. You want so desperately to make sure the whole family is together to have that memory of that ride, but it's not always possible. It's not always the right thing to do. I will say this. The right thing to do is rarely the easy thing to do. The right thing to do always puts a little, it's a little tough. It's hard. It's not always easy to do it, but you have to do the right thing when you can. Shelley says, I have struggled with leaving the line with a little one who had to go potty and then return to my family. It's a struggle. It's hard for you to do, and it's very stressful. And I will tell you this, my mom tried to do that a couple of times when we were little, when I was being potty trained. And I remember to this day how stressed out I was with my mom trying to get back in line and join the rest of the family. And I would cry and I would fuss and I would feel terrible. I would feel guilty. I was like 2, 3 years old, and I knew what was going on and I knew it wasn't right, and I didn't feel comfortable with it then, and it made me very upset and I did not like it. And my mom could see it, and she could see it was distressing me, so she just never did it again. She did it a couple times and then never did it again. After that, if I had to leave the line, we just left the line, and then we just waited outside by the exit for the rest of the family, and that's just the way it was. It's really, it can be very stressful on your little one to try to cut back in the line too. It can be really tough. So, you know, this is great. Karen has another great point here. She said, when my autistic son had to leave the line for the emergency potty run, I had a cast member escort us back through the line to our party, Pixie Dust. Okay, I can see how that might be something special to like get your family together, especially with your son's condition that he was experiencing. If you do have a situation like that, you know, and you really want to be with your family, ask a cast member, let them know what you're going through, let them know your thoughts and feelings. And if they can help you, they will. If they can't, then don't be upset with them. But let them know if it's that important to you, check with them and ask, because you never know what will happen when you ask nicely. Amazing, magical things happen. Somebody states, make Disney parks big enough to eliminate all lines. Well, I don't know if they can do that, but it's something worth trying, I guess. Sheena says, thank you for talking about the DAS Pass, Pammie. I have 2 sons on the autism spectrum and are coming in February, and the DAS is the only thing making it possible for us to come. Yes, you know, I have a couple of friends who have some issues with anxiety and autism. Not issues, I don't want to say that because it's part of who they are and there's nothing wrong with it. I would say they have concerns with it rather than issues. And yeah, that it's so helpful to people who need it. You know, if you have a family member who has PTSD, if you have a family member who's on the autism spectrum or has concerns with claustrophobia and just agoraphobia or whatever, the DAS can be amazing and make it possible for them to go on lots of different rides. Megan said to Karen, it's a good idea. I've had someone in front of us explain why they needed to leave and ask if we understood or would it be mad if they cut back, and the answer then is absolutely not. It's not a problem. Oh, you know what? I actually have a story about that to share with you. When I went to Disney Springs and I stood outside in line waiting to go into World of Disney, I realized I had a half an hour before the store opened and I desperately had to go to the bathroom. Because I had just done a 2-hour drive. So this wasn't a queue like inside of a building. It was an outdoor queue that you could join and leave as you needed to. But I asked the person in front of me, the party in front of me and the party behind me, I said, the restroom's right over there. Would you mind terribly? I have no one with me to hold my spot for me. If I left to use the bathroom, may I return back to the spot? If you don't want me to, I won't. And they were like, no, are you kidding? Absolutely. We'll hold your spot. No big deal. So, you know, if you have to have something like that happen and you're in an open queue where you can step away and step back in and you don't have to like wind through people or push through people to get to it, check with the people around you and see if they'd be willing to hold your spot. In a situation like that, it's different, but I'm talking about a queue that you have to push through to get through, like there's stanchions or like, you know, chains or something that are kind of, you have to snake through to get through. That can be very, very difficult. Saskia says, what is the etiquette when you're in a multilingual park? How do I indicate the language I speak? In Disneyland Paris, I just awkwardly said hello and they asked, but surely there's a smoother way. I personally, if I were going to Disneyland Paris, I would try to learn how to ask, do you speak English? In their language. Or I would learn how to say, I only speak English in their language. So that, you know, I think it's, you know, I think it's important to try to speak the other language if you can, but if it's beyond you to be able to learn how to completely speak a different language, I think if you can try to at least learn the phrase to communicate to them, hello, I need help, I only speak English. That I think will be very helpful to get them to do it. Another way to do it is to get that printed up maybe on a card saying that, you know, hello, I'm so happy to be here, but I need help and I only speak English. Can you find someone who speaks English to help me? Something, a simple phrase on a card in the language of the country that you're visiting or the park that you're visiting, so that you can then share that with them and show them the card. They can read the card and go, oh, okay, this person only speaks English, and they'll find someone who can help you. That might be even easier than trying to learn how to speak another language, even a phrase. I think that's what I would do. I personally would learn to memorize the phrase, but I think it would also help to possibly have a little card with a phrase on it that will help you. Christina says, just as much our responsibility to make magical moments for each other as the cast members to do this for us. A little kindness goes a long way. Someone's bad choice isn't worth losing my joy. Now, this is absolutely true, Christina. You bring up a good point. It is our responsibility as guests to behave well in the parks and do the best that we can to help each other have magical moments. Because remember here's the key. We are guests. Just like you're a guest in someone's home, there's certain behaviors and rules and etiquette that you adhere to in order to be considered a good guest, so that you might be invited back to another dinner party or another get-together or gathering at someone's home. You want to be known as a good guest. And we want to also do that when we're at the parks as well. We want to be known as good guests. I believe it's good to be known as a good guest, and to treat the cast members with respect and dignity, and to let them know how much we appreciate them being there, especially during the holiday season when they could be with their own families. Many of them are in the Disney College program, far from their own families, and it means everything for you to be show them a little bit of kindness, And I think it's important for us to remember that we are guests. We are guests, and it is an honor and a privilege to be able to go to these wonderful parks and take our families there. And we should act that way, and we should show our appreciation and be gracious to the cast members and to one another. And if we see something happening that's not so great and really maybe isn't something we would do, it's not our job to tell people how to act or behave. It's not our job to police everyone. That's not our job. Instead, go about your life, live your life. If someone's behaving in a way that's not so great, you can use it as a teaching moment for your own children and say, that's not how we behave. But we don't need to teach that person how to behave. They have a mom and dad who could have taught them better. Ours is to just be a good guest ourselves, and to be a good example to our children and our other family members by being the best guest that we can while we're visiting the parks. And I think I saw Super Enthused is in the house. Hello! You guys should go visit her channel. She does a lot of fantastic adventures throughout the state of Florida. Super Enthused is from Miami, I believe, right? So I love watching some of the stuff that you do when you're exploring Miami, and she also comes to the Disney a lot. I hope I get to meet you in person someday. That would be amazing. Let's see. Alicia says that it's true, as a former Disney College program member, I wasn't with my family on Christmas in 2008. It was sad, but I did what I can to work and get educated, so that's amazing. Hey Alan, it's good to see you in here. I'm actually getting ready to wrap the chat up. I just want to thank all of you for joining me tonight. This could have been an incredibly controversial and heated discussion with some negativity in it, and I'm really, really, really happy that you guys really were so gracious to each other and so kind to one another, and that you shared a lot of really great advice and insight and information with each other. And I hope that the folks who take a look at this live chat later and are looking for information on here get some information that will help you enjoy your vacation a little more and give you a little more confidence on how to navigate the parks appropriately. And also that if you have some great tips and insights and information that you can share, please do share that in the comments so that other people can learn. And I'm always happy to hear what you guys have to say and what you feel about the things that I share with you. So I'm looking forward to reading any comments you guys have later as well. Again, thank you all so much for taking so much time out of your night tonight to have this really important chat. If you guys are interested in doing more etiquette chats like this and maybe tackling some other forms of Disney etiquette, I would love to do that with you, because I'd love to share that, what I've learned, and I also want to hear what you guys do when you're in the parks as well. So drop me a line here inside the comments. drop me a line at pammieplusparks@gmail.com, or don't forget, you can also join the Pammie Plus Parks Facebook group. And if you would like to help support this group and make sure that we continue to be able to do the Facebook group and that I continue to make great videos for you that are hopefully of use to those who are plus size or have mobility concerns when traveling to Disney or throughout Florida, please feel free to contribute using the PayPal link that is down below in the description. And thank you again to everybody who contributed tonight with super chats. It is incredibly helpful and really helps me be able to make more content for you guys. I hope that you guys have a fantastic, magical evening. And remember, life is a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride.